Hello and welcome to Learning and Technology. My name's Frank and I'm glad that you're here. In this video, I want to talk about the foundation of every personal and professional productivity system, and that is keeping track of things that need to get done. And we're going to do that with a Microsoft application called To Do. To Do is very powerful. It's simple to learn, and I'll show you a number of demonstrations in this video, but it's very powerful because it allows me to collect information, it allows me to organize that information, and then I can take that into a team or I can take that into my own personal productivity system and make sure that I sequence it and follow up on things. It's really cool. Now, I'm going to recommend you watch this entire video because I don't just talk about the application. I show you some demonstrations of collecting information using the application, and then I show you how that is shared across multiple different devices. Your iPhone, your iPad, how it can be shared to a Microsoft Outlook environment through the tasks. I can see it on the web, and later on we're going to see how it's going to be expanded upon and integrated more with Microsoft Teams. It's a very powerful thing. One of the problems that we have with many applications that allow me to keep to-do lists is that they live in one system. And that's not going to work because we don't work within one system. Sometimes I'm on my computer, sometimes I'm mobile, and I have my iPhone with me. We need to have a system that works across multiple devices, synchronizes across multiple devices, and allows me to collect information in the most frictionless way possible. The easier it is to collect that information, the easier it is for me to incorporate that into personal and professional productivity. Plus, I want to be able to share those to-do lists with others. Maybe a single task I can assign to someone, or maybe somebody can assign me a task. Anyways, we'll look at that all within this video. If you like this video, go ahead and hit like. And if you want more tips and tricks using these technologies to learn much better, go ahead and subscribe. Let's have a look at Microsoft. Although it seems like a really simple application, it is simple, the power of the To-Do application is in that you can work with it in so many different areas of the Microsoft ecosystem. So for example, I can install To-Do on my iPhone. And that means when I'm walking around, when I'm mobile, I can both review and I can input my various different tasks that I might wish to do and make sure that I have those. And then I'll see them appear on any website where I can also review and input and I can manage my tasks. You can also manage your tasks in all of the systems here. But I can do it on my desktop in Outlook where it appears in my tasks. And I can then work with other people in single or multiple teams, and I can have tasks assigned to me and I can assign tasks to other. And then we can go through and we can review those tasks. So let's have a look at how this all works. It's actually a very powerful system and it's very simple. It's just the to-do list. And the reason this is going to become even more important going forward is that they are rolling out tasks for Teams, and we're going to get a lot of functionality combined with Microsoft Planner. In fact, the Microsoft Planner product and the To-Do are going to be combined and form something called Tasks. So this is something that I'm looking very forward to. But let's have a look at this mobility. Let's look at this cross-product synchronization and how valuable that is to us. The way that the to-do list works across all of my different devices, my iPhone, my web-based Outlook, or my web-based to-do, and my Outlook tasks is really amazing and extraordinarily useful. Let's walk through a little story. Let's say I'm at my friend's office and he has these most extraordinary pens. They're just absolutely amazing. And I say, where did you get those pens? And he says, oh, they're fantastic. And I want to get some pens for myself. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to add a task here. And I'm going to say, get cool pens. So I'm going to say, get these cool pens. So that's going to be a task. I want to get these cool pens. So once I say I'm going to get these cool pens, the real steps are maybe I have to get a purchasing order, so I can add multiple steps in there. But maybe this is just a discrete single task that I can do to get those pens. I can add it to my day. I can set a reminder so I know that I'm going to do that tomorrow, Monday morning at 9 a.m. And I want to make sure that I order those by Monday. So I'm going to make sure that I order those by Monday. It's not going to be a repeating order for pens. And a neat thing here is I can say, used these at Bob's office. They are great pens. Now, in this case, this is really a to-do for me as an individual, so I'm not involving anybody else. But if I was involving other people, putting a note in there can be very helpful because it explains why this task is important. And then I can add a file. And let's say I'm going to go in and I'm going to use the camera here, and I'm going to take a picture of that pen. So let's say I want to make sure I get these Uniball Signo UM153 pens. And incidentally, these are fantastic pens. They're really good. Anyway, so I'm going to put that photo in there so that I don't forget the pen. And now I've got a nice photo in there of the pen. And now I've got my task in there that I'm going to get cool pens tomorrow. I'm going to make sure that I order those. And if I had, I can make those tasks simple or complex. But what I've done now is I've captured that. What's happened at the same time here is it has now populated that in my Outlook tasks. So now it's a task in Outlook. I can also go into the to-do online and I can see that I've got that there as well. If I go to my Outlook tasks, I can go in and get a little bit more. I can flag it as being important. I can double click it here and you'll see that that image, if I double click here, shows up. So now I know exactly what pen it is that I wish to get. That's very, very handy. And then over here, you can see I also have it here. Now you'll notice right now that there's no file here. You don't see the picture of the pen. It will show up. It just takes a little bit. If I refresh a couple times, it might show up a little bit faster. But that file, there it is. So that file will show up in the web-based interface as well because it synchronizes across all three. So this becomes a very useful way of keeping those things together. And this really fulfills the capture part of working with the tool. But it gets even cooler. Let's say, for example, underneath tasks, you can see here on my phone that I've got my day. I've got important and planned tasks, tasks that have been assigned to me. But I can also add a new list. So let's say, for example, I want to create a new reading list. And what I want to do is every time I come across an interesting book or an article, I want to put that into a reading list, and then I want to make that a project. Maybe I'm going to read a book every week or read a book every month, whatever it may be. And I can choose the color for the reading list, or I could even put a photo background there. So let's say I'm going to put a photo background there. So now I've got this nice reading list. And I could add a task by, just going in here and I could say, read, there's a book I like called Getting Things Done. And this is pretty handy. So if I have this, Getting Things Done. But maybe I could even spell it correctly. Maybe I should get a book on spelling. Getting Things Done. And what I can do, and this is a very powerful thing that's even better than this. Let's say I'm in some other application like my Kindle. And I've got the book. I've already bought the book. So I've got this book here on how to take smart notes. What you can do is in the world of the iPhone, if you have your share button, I can simply go up here and I can go and push that out to do. And then I can choose where I want that to go, and I'll put that over to my reading list that I just created, and I'll add that in. And what that's going to do is it's going to create in my to-do on the reading list a nice summary of that book. It's going to give me the cover here. I can now assign a time when I'm going to read that book, when I'd like to have that book read by. And if I go into tasks in Outlook, you'll notice that's the Getting Things Done. If I go into the How to Take Smart Notes, you'll notice here that it also has a link. This will actually take me out to the Amazon website where it gives me information about that book. Now you can see here that I've already purchased that book in Kindle. So a lot of times what I will do when I'm taking these types of notes is I will make a note in here that it's already in my Kindle library. And if I go into my tasks here, so I'll just do a quick refresh so I have it. You'll notice that my tasks will also be in here. So I have to go into my tasks. And if you look down the side here, you'll see I'll go home. Just take a few seconds here for me to populate this. There's an announcement here. Oh, that's cool. Now available for the Mac. Ooh, I should put my Mac on here now. So if I go in, I can go in and I can go to the home, these are the cool pens recently added. So if I go here to the recently added, how to take cool notes, and you'll see that I have different sections in here as well. So I can, if I have it on a calendar, due tomorrow, if I have favorites in there, if I have ones that are flagged tasks in there, I can go into the home to get cool pens, and I can go into my reading list. So I have different lists down here, and if there was multiple lists, I could see them in there as well. So I'll go into how to take smart notes, and you'll notice again, I get that Amazon link in there as well. Okay, let me show you another very useful tip. There's an application I like called Goodreads. And Goodreads will allow me to go in, and if I'm at a store or a library and I see a book that I want to read and I just don't, have time right now, but I want to make sure I don't forget it, one of the things that I can do is I can add a book in Goodreads by scanning a book cover. And so it'll allow me to access the camera, and I'll scan the ISBN code for that book, and I can put it into a category of maybe want to read, currently reading, or read, so I can create more shelves there. But this isn't a tutorial on Goodreads, so I'm going to put that into my want to read books. And then what I can do is go into that book, and I can actually hit the share button up at the top there and put it in my to-do. And now what I can do is put that into my reading list, and I can say, okay, I have the skillful teacher in there, and I can put notes in there, but I'll say I'll add it in. And now if I go into to-do, you'll notice underneath my reading list, the skillful teacher appears. And then I can add files in there. I can say, remind me to pick up that book from the library. Maybe tomorrow I want to go in and reserve it. And I want to make sure I read that. There's a big conference coming up next week. I can even set the date in there. So I'll pick a date. Let's say there's a conference coming up by on the 19th. So I want to read this by the 16th. And I could add steps in there. Maybe I want to break it down. I want to read one chapter per day. Whatever the case may be, you can go in and put additional notes in there. I could add a file, whatever the case may be. And now when I go in there, I've now got that in my reading list. And sure enough, that appears in my Outlook to-dos and in my web reading list as well. So that's another handy way. In fact, there's many applications in the iPhone where if I hit that share button, I can push that out to do. So it gives me a chance to keep track of things like articles that I want to read, so on and so forth. Now let's imagine that I've found something interesting. And I should also quickly point out that this all works on the iPad as well. So you can get the iOS app. As we just saw earlier in the video, you can also get it for the Mac. So you have it as an app for the Mac, Windows app, browser app, iOS app, and I believe it's also an Android app. I don't have an Android device. So if I go in, I'm on a website here. I just did a search for cool astronomy facts. Here's 33 interesting astronomy facts. So I'm going to click on there, and I'm like, ooh, I really want to make sure I keep this. If I hit that little share button down at the bottom, check it out. Off to to-do we go. So now I can put that into tasks. I can, of course, if I was in tasks earlier, I could go in and create a new list here. I'll call it astronomy. If I haven't done it before, astronomers, I'll do it astronomy, right? So I'll do astronomy. So I'm going to create this new list in here called astronomy. And now I'm going to put this astronomy fact in there. So as I'm going through, I'm collecting this information, and it's really going into this one place where I now have the astronomy list. And of course I can, modify this list as well. You can go in and put a photo in there, and you're a little bit limited in the photos, but astronomy has a nicer one there. So there we go. I can start collecting web links. I can start collecting a reading list. And of course I can just do all my to-dos, right? So all the different to-dos I have. But this is also a great way to, as you're reading things, just do that collecting phase of productivity. Let's not leave our iPads out of our productivity system. And the beauty of the To-Do is because it works on all these platforms, including the Mac now, I can actually work on any of my devices and capture and work with my to-do list. So I'm going to go into my iPad. Now I have an iPad Pro. I'm using an Apple Pencil, and I'm going to go into my to-do. You'll notice I've cleaned it up for the purposes of this demonstration again. So I'm going to create a new list. And this new list, I'm going to go in and I'm going to call this new list reading list. So let's go in here and I'll call it reading list. Notice I can use the scribble feature in iOS 14 to use my stylus just to write it as opposed to having to use a keyboard to type it. And down below in the corner here to the side, to the right-hand side, you can see that I can go to a keyboard if I want, or I can do a line return. So I'll hit a line return, and now I have reading list in here. Another feature that I have, and this is available for all versions of To-Do, but I'll demonstrate it here, is if I hit this little plus, I can put in a group name. So this is very, very handy if I'm doing projects. So I might have a new group for each project. So let's say, for example, I'm working on developing 3 courses. I might have a reading list unique to each of those 3 courses. So let's say this is going to be course number 1, and I'm going to create that group. So we're developing a course with the clever name of course 1. I can put this reading list into, I'll just grab it and drag it into that particular group, and this allows me to separate projects, personal projects, work projects, specific work projects. You can see where I'm really starting to get some great productivity here by being able to organize my to-dos around projects and tasks. And if I go and escape here, and I'm going to go into my Kindle, and you'll notice it's the same book that I had before. I'll just make it as if I'm reading the book. So here I am reading the book, and I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I need to put this into that course 1. This is going to be a reading for course 1. So I'm going to click on the book here, and I'm going to hit my share icon. And when I hit my share icon, you'll see To Do appears right here. So I have To Do here, but I'm just going to scroll over, because if it doesn't appear there, hit the More button. And the More button allows me to choose which apps I'm going to share with. So for example, let's say I wanted to be able to share to OneNote. I can edit this. I can go and add OneNote in, and I'll put this up a little bit. So grab the little bars there, and I'll move that up a little bit. And I can customize exactly what appears on this share menu. So now I have my first choice is AirDrop. I can send it via message, then I can send it to To-Do or to OneNote, and I can work with these. And there you can see some other productivity apps I have in there. So I use a few. So if I go in there, oh, I have to share it now. So I'm going to go in and share it with To-Do. Notice I can choose where I want to share it, and I'm going to share it to that reading list that I just created. And I'll add that in. And now if I go back to To-Do, you'll notice that the reading list has this book in here. This is very handy on the iPad, because not only can I read this book on the iPad, but if I go into here, I can put all the things that I showed you previously, put a due date, a reminder date, add files and such to it. But if I go in here, I can also, through the scribble function, I can go into this here, and I'll just do a couple of line returns. And underneath here, I can say something like, grab the keyboard off, underneath here, I can just use scribble. So underneath here, I can say stuff like, this book will be a required text for the course. And you'll notice that my handwriting is very beautiful, but you'll notice that it was able to actually look at my handwriting and translate that into proper text. And if I go in there, and of course, I can go back to the book, and you can see that I've got the book here, and it goes to Amazon and gives me a really good overview of the book here. So I can buy it if I want to. I can read it in my Kindle because I already have it in my Kindle. So I'll say read in Kindle, and it'll ask me to authenticate. But of course, because I know I already have it in Kindle, I can just go to my Kindle and grab that. So this is using the iPad to really be part of that productivity system as well. And you can see that it's very, very powerful, because now, of course, if I go into my Outlook, or if I go Outlook tasks, or if I go into my To-Do on my iPhone, or if I go into my To-Do on the web, it's everywhere. It's across my whole system. And coming up in the future, this will also go to Microsoft Teams. Okay, so there are some announcements coming out that are really exciting. They're currently rolling out, they being Microsoft, are currently rolling out the integration of Microsoft Planner and Microsoft Tasks within Microsoft Teams. So this is going to become an interface where I'm going to see all of those to-dos, all of those personal ones, as well as all of my team ones. So to do that, if I go into Teams, I'm going to hit the ellipse here, and underneath Planner, this is a great application that they introduced, but you'll notice up top here, they're going to be combining Planner and To-Do into one beautiful interface here in Teams. So you're going to be able to see all your personal to-dos, and you're going to be able to see all of your team to-dos all within Microsoft Teams. Right now it's called Planner. I believe they're going to rename it to Tasks. We'll wait and see. And so far, I have not been upgraded to this. So they're rolling it out. And the minute I do get upgraded, I will continue on with this tutorial and talk about how we can then take it from the iPhone to Outlook, to the web, to a Mac, to an iPad, to an Android device, and over here in Teams. And the nice thing about that is no matter where I am, I have a place to put that work, and so I can then put it into a project, put it into an action plan, and become more productive. So stay tuned for that. If you've reached this point, that means you've watched the entire video, and I hope that was worth it to you and you got value from it. If you did, hit the like and subscribe for more videos. Now you've got a tool in your arsenal of productivity that you're going to be able to use to quickly collect information. I love using this tool while I'm reading a book, especially on my iPad. If I'm reading a book and taking notes on that book, I can use my stylus to do all sorts of notes, and then it's boom, it's captured, and then I can take the next steps with that technology. So thank you very much for watching. Here's some more videos of mine that you can watch. I hope to see you in the next video.